From Clarkston, Michigan, the greatest city in the world, it's the Jose Aliaga Show. Jose Aliaga knows everyone. Get to know him as he interviews some of the most fascinating people from the greater Independence Township area. And now, broadcasting from the studios at Clarkston High School, the home of the state champion Wolves, here's Jose Aliaga.
Welcome to the Jose Aliaga Show. Today we have a special guest, a very conservative leader in our community. His name is Bill Bullard. How you doing,
Thank
Bill?
you, Jose. Glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. It's an honor and privilege to have you here in my show. Bill, a lot of people know who you are, but we would like to know more about you. And can you tell us about your experience in public office?
Well, I served 20 years in the legislature, House and Senate. Then I served 10 years in county governments, including 6 years as chairman of the Board of Commissioners, and the last 2 as clerk register of deeds.
Oh, so you were a state senator as well?
I was in the state senate, yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about some of your bills that you passed?
Well, I'm very proud of a conservative record as a legislator. I sponsored a lot of tax cuts, including cutting the income tax to 3.9%, and we're not back there yet. It got raised during the Granholm administration. But I also was chair of the House Tax Committee when we adopted Proposal A that was approved by the voters that cut property taxes in this area, probably cut property taxes 65% or so.
Mm-hmm. Which is very, very good to, to know. I always believe that we should give some money back to our taxpayers. Taxpayers are overburdened with high taxes right now.
Absolutely.
I like that, to hear that philosophy. But I remember about you passed a legislation also that saved many lives about a seatbelt or something?
Yes, the seatbelt law was enacted back in the early 80s, but it wasn't a primary offense. A police officer could not stop you unless they saw another offense like speeding taking place. So I sponsored and got passed the bill to make the seatbelt law a primary offense. As a result of that, our seatbelt compliance was at one time the highest in the whole country. It was up around 95, 96%. That one law has saved millions of dollars and saved thousands of lives, so I'm very proud of that. And it was controversial at the time.
Oh, I see. So it's good to see more efficiency and, something that actually worked after you proposed it.
Exactly.
That's good. So as a clerk, some people don't know exactly what is the job description for the Oakland County clerk. What is the job description?
County clerks are different from your local municipal or township clerk. There's 4 divisions. There's the court records division, there's the vital records division, there's the elections division, and then the register of deeds. And they all have different functions. All very important functions, but different.
So for example, elections, what the Oakland County clerk do for elections?
The Oakland County clerk is supervisor of election procedures and works with the local clerks in the conduct of elections. One of the things we did when I was clerk is we put an electronic modem in every voting machine in the whole county, so that we have about the fastest election results in Oakland County of any place in the country. And the procedure is, if say your precinct is in a school or a public building, at 8 o'clock when nobody else is in line to vote, the election workers will turn a key and lock the machine, because they're actually locking the paper ballots within the machine. Then they turn one other switch, and the results from that machine go directly to Oakland County, and within 30 seconds we were able to put that on the internet. So, example, this last August elections wasn't maybe a true test, because only 20% of the precincts had an election, because certain schools and certain cities had elections, but others didn't. But the results were in 100% within 1 hour.
And that was implemented by you.
Yes, that's a major step we took forward. And it really is important to let the people know the results of an election. You know, a lot of people, in the old days, they'd stay up to midnight, 1 a.m. A lot of people have to go to work the next day. So they'll get results early in the evening.
Good. So you believe in technology to improve and make
Yes.
efficiency?
What we did in every area of the clerk's office is to push technology, because basically every transaction that we can handle electronically, we save money. And we were able to do more and more transactions as the economy improved after our lost decade or the recession that we had. We were doing more and more transactions, but we were able to do it with the same number of people because we pushed more into electronic transactions rather than somebody standing at a counter.
And during when you were a clerk, probably you save a lot of money, right? Because you did some changes there that.
Yes, you know, most governmental budgets are 80 or 90% of the budget is personnel. So actually, when I was there at the county as chairman of the board, we all took pay cuts, and it took really about 10 years to get the pay back to what it was at the start of the recession. I'm very proud to have worked with Brooks Patterson, Sheriff Bouchard, and other leaders of our county to take our budget and actually streamline it during bad times, because county government is depending on property tax revenues, and during the recession when property values went down, that meant less revenue. So we had to cut, and I presided over 6 balanced budgets for Oakland County, and you know what? We worked with both sides, and we had unanimous votes on all the budgets.
Oh, very interesting, because it's difficult to accomplish in these times, you know?
Right.
Because working with the other side is...
Yeah. Well, what we did was we have a committee process, and we had discussions as the budget was going through the process, and Brooks Patterson is a great leader and submitted balanced budgets, but that's not to say that you can't make some changes here and there, and maybe you increase spending in a little area because there's a need to spend more money in that area. Well, then we cut back in another area, so we stay balanced. So through that process, Oakland County is known around the country for having very good fiscal management.
And during your time when you were as a chairman of the county commissioner, what was the most difficult issues during the time?
Well, we had an issue that's now a national issue, which is there's an EVerify system to make sure that people who are employed by Oakland County and contractors are legally in this country. And we were one of the first counties to accept the EVerify system, and now that is in every contract with every outside vendor. We have a lot of outside vendors. They have to comply with EVerify, and that's a good safeguard.
That's good. Yeah, of course. We need to know who we employ, who we having around. I agree with that. So, and then, so when you were the chairman, some people probably don't know what is the county commissioners. Can you explain us a little bit?
Yeah, the county commission is the legislature of county government, and it's not a well-known body. They don't get into controversy that often. The primary purpose of the county commission is to adopt the budget, and we have a 2-year rolling budget, and it's a balanced budget. But other issues come to the county, grants to be accepted, contracts with outside vendors if they're of a certain amount. Basically, the legislature of county government.
Okay, and each of them represent a certain area of the county, correct?
Yes, there are currently 21 commissioners, and you can look on the county website to see who they are. They are a part-time body, meaning most of the county commissioners have other jobs, but they meet, half the meetings are on Wednesday night and half the meetings are on Thursday morning. And then there are committee meetings. Usually the week before a commission meeting, you have committee meetings. So in a given week, you might just really be part-time. Some weeks, you know, if there's a hot issue in some committees, it almost could be a full-time job on a given day. But overall, it's a part-time job.
Oh, okay. But still, they make important decisions for the county, right?
Correct.
Because the
That's
budget
correct.
has to pass through them,
Yes.
grants, and
Yes.
some tough decisions.
Yes,
So, okay, so basically they work closely with L. Brooks Patterson.
exactly. He's our leader, and he's a great leader.
Yes, he is. He is. Well, I mean, we have a lot of improvements here, and I know last year he cut taxes, and that was
Yes. We're going to see little less taxes in our December tax bill.
So you believe cutting taxes improve our economy instead raising taxes, correct?
I'm a tax cutter from way back. When I was in the legislature, when Governor Engler was governor, we cut over 40 taxes. And I sponsored the bill that eliminated Michigan's inheritance tax and a lot of other taxes that we worked on. Now the legislature recently has abolished even the personal property tax. That's one thing I tried to do there. We could never get a consensus, but we were successful. And probably the proudest achievement was when my bill was signed into law to roll back over 4 years the income tax rate to 3.9%. And that's the lowest it's ever been.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting. And Bill, so you served with Governor Engler, or also
Yes.
with Granholm, or just Engler?
I was there in the legislature, House and Senate, 20 years. I served under Governor Blanchard for 8 years, and then 12 years of John Engler,
Oh,
who
wow.
I think is the greatest governor we've ever had in this state. He did a lot of great things.
Any of the particular bills that actually you work with Engler that you remember?
Well, the seatbelt bill, primary enforcement, is probably the most significant, but there were a lot of different tax cut bills, and so we really reformed the tax system in the state over a period of years.
And since you work with two former governors, what do you think about Governor Snyder?
I think he's different. I admire him personally. He's different in that he's not a professional politician, he's a businessman, but he's learned to work with the legislature. And I think it shows that a good person that maybe with a good background in business can be a successful governor. The unemployment rate now in Michigan is close to 5%. When Governor Snyder reformed the Michigan business tax and made it just a corporate income tax, that's stimulating business, and so economically our future is bright.
Yes, I mean, for where we've been and where now is absolutely, you're right.
Part of that probably is just the national economy getting better, and but they always say that Michigan is first to go into recession, last to come out. And so our property values have just started in the last year or so to rebound, and that helps local governments because local governments get a lot of their money from the property tax.
And Bill, when you were a clerk, how was your relationship with other clerks in the county?
Well, we tried very hard. There's over 60 municipal clerks, township clerks, city clerks, and village clerks, and we worked very closely with them. For example, when we put an electronic modem in every voting machine, those voting machines are in the jurisdiction of our local clerks. So we had meetings with our local clerks and said, what do you think of this idea? We worked with them, and it was unanimous that every clerk in the county cooperated and said, this is great because we can let our voters know the results earlier. And so it was a great relationship with all the local clerks.
And I didn't realize 60 clerks.
Yes.
Wow.
But what we did in every area of the clerk's office and the register of deeds was push technology. Like in the court records department, we implemented and expanded an e-filing system, which most people don't realize if you're not in court, which if you're not in court, you're better off. But attorneys know what an efficient e-filing system we have. That saves money. In the Register of Deeds office, we implemented a new recording system to expand recorded documents. And basically, we can do a transaction, whether it's a filing of a court pleading or recording of a deed or a mortgage. We can do that more efficiently if it's electronic than we do with a piece of paper. But for those that still like to do pieces of paper, and some older people don't have computers and are not computer literate, but we implemented a system that if you bring say a deed or other document to record it to the Register of Deeds, it used to be that 2 or 3 weeks later, we'd send you your document back to you. Now we implemented a system where probably within 2 or 3 minutes, the property description on your deed is checked to make sure that's accurate. We check to make sure all the statutory requirements are met. And within 2 or 3 minutes, you can pay your fee and actually walk out of there with your deed. And it'll be marked with the librarian page where it's recorded. And so that's a big improvement.
Oh, okay. Yes, it is. I mean, because I know some people older people don't know much about technology. They struggle. You'll be able to do probably something in internet. So that will actually help the part of the people that can
Right.
go.
We will always have service at the counters. I mean, not everything could be electronic. Not everybody wants to do electronic, but we offer people a choice. And as people become more and more educated, we saw more and more electronic transactions.
It's incredible. Bill, so in what other department besides election and deeds the clerk do?
Well, the Vital Records
okay.
division, if you get married, you go there to get a marriage license. We handle death certificates. Notary publics are sworn in and recorded at the Vital Records department. One thing we implemented in that area was to issue a veteran's ID card.
Okay.
We found out that a lot of stores were giving veterans discounts or preferential treatment, and there was no standard way that a veteran could identify themselves. So they could bring in their discharge papers, which is usually a big, bulky paper document. So we started issuing veterans ID cards, and that's proved to be extremely popular.
Oh, okay. All right.
The other area that in the Vital Records that is going to be more important is concealed pistol licenses. I was in the legislature when we adopted the, we called it CCW, concealed weapons at that time. And that was one of my proudest votes, because there were people who said, if you let law-abiding citizens carry concealed weapons, concealed pistols, oh, there'll be mayhem in the streets. It'll be like the Wild West again, people getting shot. And none of that has proved to become true. So people who get concealed pistol licenses, we have what's called a shall issue system, where if you meet certain statutory requirement, which includes some pretty rigorous training, then you're entitled to a concealed pistol license. And now a new law is taking effect that the clerks will be totally responsible for issuing those licenses after the police background check. It used to be that a gun board would meet and issue the licenses and tell the clerk to issue them. But now the county clerks will be totally in charge of that system.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. That was implemented this year? Or?
Yeah, that's going to be implemented later this year.
Oh,
so the general public probably won't see any change, because the gun boards didn't bring in everybody. They only brought people in when there was a question, was there a prior conviction or something? Maybe some of the police background checks raised some issues they weren't sure of. Maybe somebody was charged with a crime, but were they convicted or not? That might be unclear in the court records. So most people who got CPL licenses just saw the clerk, but there was a gun board in the background that made the formal decision. But now that the county clerk will have total jurisdiction on that, it's even more important than ever.
Now, The clerk is one of the 6 leaders that we have in the county, correct?
Yes, we have 6 countywide elected positions. We have county executive, we have sheriff, we have the clerk register of deeds. In many counties, clerk and register of deeds are 2 different offices. But in Oakland County, we combined them years ago. And then there's the treasurer, the prosecuting attorney, and then the water resources commissioner, which used to be known as the drain commissioner.
Right.
And they're all elected countywide in presidential years. So in 2016, all 6 of those offices will be on the ballot.
Oh, okay. So now, I believe, I don't remember, I don't recall, but I think in some of the issues, you guys, the 6 of you, the 6 of the elected officials make a decision sometimes?
Well, they're all
By vote
individual. They're individual offices with statutory responsibilities for each. Where we cooperate is we work all 6 of the countywides. Well, one is Brooks Patterson.
Right.
But Brooks Patterson has a fabulous staff of budgeting people. And so we work with Brooks's budget office to refine our budget, and then Brooks presents it. And in other counties, there's been fighting between the courts and the county executive, or between the prosecutor and the county executive. We don't have that in this county. We have a culture of each of those 6 offices works with the other 6, and the most important thing we do is back in what they call the lost decade, the budget had to be cut. Our revenues were less. Everybody knew that. And everybody cooperated in identifying for Brooks's budget people, where are the areas that we think we can cut? And it's difficult to cut. People think, well, you can cut 5%. Well, you might have to cut 5%, but where is it? Which specific line item? And because most of the costs of a government like Oakland County are personnel costs, you've got the salaries of your employees, you've got the fringe benefits. So what we did in Oakland County, and we only laid off a handful of people, but what we did was when a position became vacant, we didn't automatically fill that position. And there's a budget task force where even if it's an important position that had to be filled, the elected officials had to go to the budget task force and convince them that this is a position that had to be filled. There was a function there that a human being had to perform. But if it wasn't needed, say there are multiple people in the same category and we could do the same work with less people, that's what we did. So, and in the clerk register of deeds office, really the electronic recordings, the e-filing, enabled us basically to do more and more transactions each year with the same amount of staff. So that shows it's a success.
Yeah, I mean, spending less and having technology be more efficient, reaching more people and make it more faster and less time and saving money. I think
and part of it is the taxpayers, the consumers in Oakland County are an educated group of people. And as they learned more and more things can be done electronically, we tried to promote it through advertising and speaking to groups. But I give credit to the people of Oakland County because they figured out, hey, it's easy to e-file or e-record something, so why don't we do it that way rather than taking gas money to drive to the county, stand in line at a counter. Our motto when I was clerk was online, not in line. And the more online transactions, there are less people in line, so that the people are in line can get faster service. So it's a win-win-win.
Yeah, I like that quote though.
Yes, online, not in line.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. So, I mean, you were in the clerk, you were a county commissioner, chairman, you were in the Senate, in the legislature, state rep. So you have a lot of experience and you know how Lansing works, which is very important for someone that represents Oakland County to know how the Lansing works.
And part of the job of the clerk is working on legislation to improve election systems. And so we did a fair amount of going up to Lansing, testifying before legislative committees. There was the mortgage fraud issue, and we testified in Lansing about ways to eliminate mortgage fraud. And so, I mean, having been a former legislator, that definitely helped me in my job. Also, being an attorney for over 30 years, I filed court papers. I paid fees. I filed motion press So I was familiar with each aspect of the clerk's office from being either an attorney or a public official in the legislature. And Jose, I know you're a township trustee in Independence Township. I started out as a township trustee in Highland Township, but one of my jobs was to not only work with the clerks, but the other local officials to tell them about our services. A lot of what you do as clerk register deeds is outreach to various communities. Here are the services, and we had mobile offices once a month at different townships and cities around the state. We went to farmers markets, where we even went to the Birmingham farmers market one time, and a couple came up and they said they wanted to get married, and we issued them a marriage license right there in the farmers market.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How interesting. Very interesting. So, and you, I mean, you implement that during the...
Yeah, Ruth Johnson was the clerk before me, and she had started mobile offices, but we tried to do as many as we could. And in fact, in a couple of instances, we had a mobile office in the Secretary of State's office with Ruth Johnson. So whether you had a state issue or a county issue, you could deal with it.
Well, Bill, our time is up today, but for people that want to contact you, you have an email? Or?
Yes, it's all lowercase, BillBullardJr, my name, Bill Bullard Jr., at yahoo.com.
Okay. And very soon you're going to come up with a Facebook page, right?
Yes.
Okay. And just for you know, Bill is going to be on November election.
2016.
2016. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jose.
For being here.
Appreciate it.
Very interesting. We learned a lot today about our Oakland County Clerk office. And for the ones, if some of you wanna be in the show, you can contact us on the Jose Aliaga Show Facebook page. It's right there. If you have any comment, please feel free to write any comment. Also, you can contact us by calling the number at 248-736-7163. Thank you, and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.